Okay, so here we are at the 270 angle, and this angle can be a little tricky than the rest of them because the side angle really requires you to produce additional lines that, if you had a simplified character, the other angles simply don't, it doesn't require you to do it. For this character, we probably won't have that much of a problem because she really is a very simplified character. But the main issue I can see will probably be her hair. Just right now, she doesn't have ears, so at some point, this part of her hair and her ponytail needs to meet because she's got her hair braided, and that is going to have to show here. So we're going to get started, and of course, I'm going to go ahead and you should know the routine. I'm going to hide the pivots for the 270-degree angle, and I'm probably going to speed up this portion again as I transfer over all of the parts that we are recycling from the other angles. So the eyes, eyebrows, arms, and feet. And in this case, because I'm at the 270 angle, I will be using the same right foot for both of the feet. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this portion up and add in all of my parts. Okay, so I have everything that we have recycled so far already in there. And again, for this character, the main thing we're really focusing on for the rest of the angles are the upper torso and the hair. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the front hair and apply it to the 270-degree angle. So I'm going to, I like to use the 0-degree angle because that's the angle that hasn't been modified. We tweak the other angles to match or to complement that angle, but I like to go back to, I guess, kind of like its pure state and use that particular um, sprite for for all of my angles except for the 225. I prefer to use the 180 angle. So I'm going to go ahead and step into this this sprite, and I don't need this hair design at all, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But I do, I'm probably going to create multiple layers. Let me go ahead and just first paste what I have here. And since the pigtails match up in all the angles, I'm not going to go all the way back to the 0-degree angle. I'm going to match up from just the 315 angle. Now, a lot of this will not be used actually, but what I would like to do is kind of get close to where her top portion of her head is at. So basically, I want to get it to, sorry, I want to get it to about right here. And a lot of the stuff you're going to have to redraw, but some of the things I want to keep and I'm going to put to the side is her pigtail. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the lasso tool and drag that out the way. And I'm probably going to do it for both for right now and just drag them out the way. And since I don't need half of this here, I want to follow her forehead and just kind of go over it like this. And I know you're thinking, well, then why didn't you just draw the whole thing from scratch? But a lot of people, especially if you're not used to drawing characters, um, you need something to help start your guide. And this definitely can help give you an idea of what you should be looking at. So in this case, this portion of the headband, the hair is probably going to go out to about right here. And you can begin to start to draw out the rest of your your angle, and it makes more sense for you. A lot of the stuff I will sketch out for a little while, and then once I think I have the look that I like, then I will start to really draw everything back in. And at this point in time, I'm not focused as much on my lines. I'm more focused on the shape of her hair. So the part that gets tricky is this character does not have any ears, but if she did have ears, it would be roughly here. So what I would like to do just for visual purposes, I want to create another layer and just kind of draw out a simple ear. Um, it doesn't have to be fantastic, but it allows me to see, okay, if I had my hair pulled in this direction, um, how would I get it so that the ponytail will eventually come out right here? What do I need to draw, and how does this hair on the side need to look so that I can start to see a ponytail come out roughly around this area? And for me, having the ear here, knowing that under normal circumstances, her hair will be tucked behind her ear, and there will be a portion that will probably come out from behind the ear right around here. And I'm just going to lock that ear layer so that I can continue to do my sketch around it. So when I hide the ear, I'm looking at something roughly like this, and since I have not decided to do an ear for her, I want to try to clean this up and make this look as appealing as possible. Um, so I probably would just bring it to a point and then bring it down. And I think that's nice, especially once you add the rest of the headband and give it some slight overlap on both sides to indicate that you're working the corner of it. That portion should still work. So now that I know how this portion of her hair looks, I now want to kind of play around with her pigtails, because at this angle, some things will rotate. So I'm going to go back and grab the lasso tool, and um, I'm going to do a new layer, put this at the top, and just line this back up with what we already have, because ultimately I still want the hair to fall roughly in the same place. So basically right here is where the hair should be at, and I think bringing my pivot up here, no, actually bringing my pivot down here to the bottom, I can begin to rotate this a little until it matches up right there. And that this look might be the best look for her at this angle. And since her stomach is so wide because it's a buddy character, probably don't need the other pigtail on the other side because you just can't see it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And now that we have the look, I think I can go ahead and speed up this portion of the video while I complete the rest of her hair. And then we'll come back and work out where the feathers may be. Okay, so I believe I have my hair now looking the way I would prefer her to look. I'm going to go ahead and this is the old layer that had the ear. I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer. I also moved her pigtails that was on a separate layer down to the main layer since I think I have the overall look I desire. So I no longer need that layer as well. And at this point in time is just time to add the feathers to her headband. And I really prefer to do this more after seeing how the character rotates within the application. But since at this particular angle, the feather should be more in the front. And then when we get down to the 90-degree angle, it should look similar, except for the feathers will be behind the hair. So basically, the feathers right here in the 350 angle, they're behind the hair, but the feathers here in 180 is in front of the hair. So what I'm going to do, because I see no need to make too much modifications, I'm going to go in the 180 angle, use the lasso tool, and I'm going to just go ahead and grab a copy of the feather. And go back into the 270 hair, I guess it's just the front hair, and paste it. And before I begin to tweak it, I'm going to erase the additional hair that I didn't need from the other angle. So with this, the first thing I want to do is, and I already have a guide here, I want to make sure that the feathers just are all at the same height. So I'm going to move this closer to about right here. And if she was rotating, let's see here, most of it will be hidden behind the hair, but there should be a small portion that's in front. So really, I think this feather will be almost here. So what I'm going to do, so I don't mess anything up, I'm actually going to cut this and create a new layer real quick. And I'm going to put the hair in, sorry, not my layer, put the rest of the hair in an outline so that I can just quickly zoom in and erase exactly where one thing you might want to do is lock your layer. So now I can go back in and erase right where the outline ends. And it's about right there, and the rest of this I'm going to just kind of clean it up. So I'm going to sample this tan color. Okay, let me restore everything back and see how it looks. And I really don't like the way it looks right now, so I'm just going to go in a little and tweak this last feather. I'll probably leave the rest of them alone, but I want to tweak this last feather. Okay, so the only thing I see, and I'm probably gonna end up tweaking it, is this entire headband appears to just kind of slope up, and it's really bothering me. I would prefer to go further out like this on both sides. So I don't think that's an easy fix. I'm just gonna have to make that adjustment. I'm gonna try it real quick and see if I can fix it. And I will say, there's been plenty of times where I have attempted to tweak something to get it the way I want. And sometimes the easiest thing you can do is just redraw it. But in your mind, you don't want to redraw it because you know it's going to be work. And sometimes you'll spend way more time trying to tweak it than actually just biting the bullet and redrawing it. I'm hoping that I can fix this real quick. But if I can't, I am not going to waste a lot of time. I'm just going to start redrawing it. I totally forgot about the feathers, and I just want to see. They are a little bit higher, but since it's on a separate layer, I can go. Wow. Wow. and Adobe Animate just crashed. I have no idea why it crashed, but it did. Let's see how much was, wow. Well, that's nice. Nice little twist. So this time I am not going to stand around and try to fix that again. Sometimes it just does not help to cut corners. Sometimes you just gotta redraw everything out. Okay, so once again, I have completed the hairband and I have no idea how the feathers look, but here we go. The only issue I'm going to see with the feather, because it's actually, I'm not going to move it down because it's at the right height that it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to draw the rest of it in. So despite it taking much longer than I initially anticipated, the front hair does now look like it's complete. It has the style and look that I was going for, and we now can finally get to the upper torso. I'm actually going to leave the feathers on a separate layer just in case something goes wrong. I won't have to redo both parts again. It's what happens when you get scarred a little bit. I will more than likely merge it to one layer, but for now I'm just going to leave it alone. And finally, we're going to do the side angle for the upper torso, and I'm going to go inside and copy everything from the 0-degree angle and slide back over to the 270. I want to make sure I maintain this shape, so on a separate layer I'm going to paste her outfit, and the odds of it lining up is slim, but instead of me going all the way over to the 0-degree, I am going to use the 315 as a gauge to make sure. And you can do all types of stuff. You can use a guide like I have out, or you can line it up the way I'm lining it up. It's really a personal preference, but that's what I'm going to do for mine. And I want to be able to see right where the V is at for the outfit. So it's about roughly there. So basically, think of it as me splitting this outfit in half. I want the V to stay intact and everything on that side will slowly stretch around her body. So I'm going to bring this back in, lock the original layer because I don't want to move this one at all. And of course, going back to the lasso tool, just try to draw a line down the middle. It's not important with the shape right now because we already know we're going to have to manipulate this so that you keep the curves. And actually, I actually like to keep a portion of the other side when I'm doing this particular side angle. And I'll show you why in a second. So I want to start erasing, but I don't want to erase too much off the top. So I will probably start here. I want to keep the decoration, so I'm going to leave that for right now. But the rest of the stuff we can lose. Finally, this one was by far my longest tutorial with a couple of a crash and a couple of glitches, but this angle is finally complete and it looks good. Okay, so I like to save and import into Crazytalk different stages of my development. Number one, to make sure I have everything looks fine, and the other part is to ensure that everything is important correctly because some items just will not import correctly. And the way I feel with that issue is if I can get 95% of my content into the application without any issues, I'm happy. I'd rather, manually bring in a handful of items than to have to tweak a ton of stuff. So the only way to know that your stuff is important correctly is to just do it in stages while you're developing it. And I never wait until it's completely done because then if you've done all of this work, you've done the details of whatever you're doing, and then you finally import it in and it looks horrible because some stuff didn't import correctly, you're pissed. So my take is don't get pissed, know what you're working with or have an idea of what to expect before you get to the end and you don't like the end result. So this concludes this portion of the tutorial, and the next one will be the 225.